title as if he had written the article. On the other hand, it is said it is an interview. That is, it is not even clear if he is the author of the article or if it is an interview.
Yani şu bile belli değil. Yazıyı mı yazmış iddiaya göre, röportaj mıdır o bile anlaşılmıyor.
Armenians with common sense accept that these allegations, which are purposefully kept alive, are unreal. The editor of the Armenian Review Journal, Mr. James Tashian, has stated that this article ascribed to Ataturk was a fraud. His article, titled "Statement Ascribed to Kemal Ataturk is Unreal," was published in the Armenian Weekly Journal on March 20th, 1982. Here is a small part of the long letter of Tashian. Ataturk has not pronounced such words. Please, we should refrain from such acts.
Atatürk'le konuştuğu iddia edilen kişi,
there is no information, news, or any notes about the journalist who is claimed to have spoken to Ataturk. There is no text of an interview. Whilst I couldn't find any record of this person being in Turkey, I researched elsewhere. For instance, I applied to the Swiss embassy. I inquired if someone of this name had ever come on this date. They could not find any record of a visit, and they informed me that the visit did not occur.
Among the documents that some Armenian circles use as the basis for genocide allegations, there are the memoirs of Henry Morgenthau. He served as the U.S. ambassador in the Ottoman Empire during the period of 1913 to 1916. During his service, his information resources were Protestant missionaries that worked in Anatolia for the Board Mission. Besides that, his chief assistants were Ottoman Armenians who were employed as local staff.
The Morgenthau story is not a report to the State Department. It's a book written afterwards. In fact, when the British sought to prosecute 140-some Ottoman Turkish detainees on Malta, they asked the State Department, you have any cables, have any reports that would show a massacre? State Department reported back and said, no, we don't. So this is something that Morgenthau wrote. It's all hearsay. He didn't witness anything firsthand. And therefore it's subject to great doubt, especially because his chief assistants were Armenians at the time.
The personality and activities of Morgenthau were viewed debatable even in his own country. Instead of his memoirs, the official reports of the following U.S. High Commissioner Admiral Bristol were accepted as reliable.
With regard to Bristol, Admiral Bristol wrote reports, but they weren't necessarily overlapping in time with Morgenthau, but he stated that there were these invented massacres that were absolutely false, that were being paraded as truthful. So there obviously is, two views at two little different points in time, and Bristol, I think, was more on the ground than Morgenthau.
Another resource used as a basis for genocide allegations is the Blue Book. The Blue Book is a publication of the World War I British Propaganda Office. The British established a propaganda office during World War I. This office published numerous books, brochures, and communiques for propaganda purposes. The publication known as the Blue Book is one of these.
Mavi kitap, Toynbee tarafından yazılmış değildir.
The Blue Book was not written by Lord Bryce. Toynbee edited it. The book is a compilation of news from various sources. No newspaper had any representatives in the region during the war. These are all made-up news items. They did not refrain from publishing them as if they were real incidents. This is what the Blue Book is.
The Blue Book is being used in many circles as a document due to the respectable name of Toynbee. On the other hand, They turn a blind eye to thousands of documents and publications that prove the groundlessness of these allegations. Today, many documents and information in various libraries is under threat.
It seems rather strange that anything that you find and you find reference to that's unfavorable to Armenia all at once mysteriously disappears out of an archives or disappears out of a library.
In Armenian schools, they still sow seeds of hatred, and they continue to politicize hatred. They put hatred against Turks in the hearts of the young.
The most pernicious element is this effort to exclude from public school curriculums any teaching of the facts and arguments that would call the Armenian genocide claim into question. They're really purposely trying to suppress access in the public school forum.
American historian Professor Heath Lowry proved that the statement, "Who remembers the Armenian genocide today?" attributed to Hitler is unreal. Professor Justin McCarthy showed with documents that Armenians were not exposed to genocide, but in fact that Armenians committed genocide against Turks. 69 American and Canadian scientists published a letter in 1985 in dailies like the Washington Post and the New York Times, stating that the incidents of 1915 were not a genocide. These scientists were threatened by some Armenians repeatedly. An American judge, Samuel Weems, was the last on this list.
They bombed the professor's house in Los Angeles, right in the middle of a country called the Country of Freedom. But it was not the end. Attacks to Professor McCarthy started.
Professor Shaw, whose only crime was to reveal historical facts, could not accept our interview proposal because his house was bombed and Armenian threats never stopped.
I'm aware of the accounts of things that have happened to Professor Shaw, and certainly any attempt to intimidate scholars in pursuit of any particular historical matter is abominable and shouldn't be tolerated.
Even as late as the 21st century, fanatic Armenian nationalists still continue their efforts to silence the peace advances by means of blood and violence. Parliaments of Western states who serve for different goals try to keep the Turkish state under pressure with genocide allegations. Despite everything, Armenians and Turks keep their wish to live together and build the future together, and express this wish on every opportunity.
Oggi si chiede conto, dopo 80 anni,
After 80 years, an account of the so-called Armenian genocide is requested. Now, as an Italian, as an heir of the Roman Empire, right or wrong, should I be responsible for what African Sione did in Carthage? 80 years, 800 years, or 1800 years, they are all the same to me. I address the diaspora. I address them for the following. Do not get stuck in 1915. There is a reality of Armenia now. If you think of your offspring, your people, look for ways and make efforts to make it possible for the two nations to live together like we do here.
In this critical threshold, everyone can benefit deeply from friendship and truth free of slander and lies. From the very start of Sora Gelin, this is what we wanted to remind people of.